It's pretty incredible to think that the Samsung Galaxy A16 5G has now been out for over 6 months. This phone, ever since being launched, has been very successful for Samsung, and it's actually one of their best-selling smartphones. So in this video, I'm looking forward to going over everything there is to know about this phone and whether or not it's still worth getting after it launched 6 months ago. So this is the Samsung Galaxy A16 5G. Now, as I mentioned, this phone is being sold all over the world, and the phone is also being offered in the US, which is where I live. In fact, in the US, you can get this phone for just $199 factory unlocked, which honestly is a really fantastic value, which I'll be getting into here in this video. This phone really is packed full of features, and it is incredible that you can actually get it for such an affordable price. In addition to that, I know there's a lot of people who are going to be buying their Galaxy A16 5G through a carrier, and most often, especially at the prepaid carriers, you can get this phone close to free or at a pretty dramatic discount in exchange for purchasing a plan. Another thing to keep in mind as well is that based on the region you buy this phone in, it is offered in different colors. The color of the device is light gray, and this phone does have 6GB of RAM along with 128GB of storage. And on that note, getting so much internal space with a device like this is especially impressive. And making things even better, the Samsung Galaxy A16 5G is compatible with microSD card expansion. So if you do find yourself filling up all the internal space on the device, maybe you want to offload some photos and videos, for example, onto that SD card, it's literally not a problem at all, as that is compatible here with the phone. Now, typically with a budget smartphone, you shouldn't really expect to get a good display with the device, but actually in this situation, the A16 5G has a really good looking display, especially for a budget phone. So with this phone, we're getting a very large 6.7-inch display, so it's a very big display here with the phone, making it great for watching video content or even going on social media, as you're gonna be able to see things a lot more easily compared to a phone that's a lot smaller. Now, this display features Super AMOLED display technology. Now, Super AMOLED is great because the viewing angles are excellent, colors also really pop, and we are getting a 90Hz refresh rate here with the phone, but overall it just runs super smooth, so I'm very impressed with that. Now, the display is 1080p, we're getting a PPI of 385, a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor here with the phone, and then finally, we're getting an 86% screen to body ratio. So we do have a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel, and then up top here, we do have a water drop notch for the front-facing camera. And the front camera with the A16 5G is 13 megapixels. But as I mentioned, we're getting a lot of storage here with the device at 128GB, along with microSD card expansion. Now, unfortunately, there is no wireless charging here with the A16 5G, so I do wish that feature was present, but it's also not something you typically find with a phone in the $200 price range. One thing that is nice though with this phone is that there is a side-mounted fingerprint sensor located on the power button, and as you can see there, it is very fast and responsive, so that feature works really well, which is great. We're also getting Face Unlock too with the A16 5G, which I definitely appreciate. Now, on the back of the phone, we're getting a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. Now, here's how things look on the camera app on the device. This is the main rear camera right now. Then from here, we can switch over to 0.5 for the ultra wide angle camera, and you can see with that camera, you can fit a lot more content into a single frame. We can then go over to the More tab here and then access the macro camera. And then with macro, you can get very close up and have things be in really good detail, which is certainly really helpful in certain situations. We're also getting portrait mode too. So if you want to get those nice blurred out backgrounds, you do have that ability. And then flipping around to the front-facing camera, there's me right there. We can take portrait selfies. We can also take standard selfies as well. And then there is also a group selfie option, so it does crop out things a little bit slightly there, so you're able to fit a little bit more into the frame in addition. Now, as far as performance goes, based on the region that you buy this phone in, it's either going to come with the Samsung Exynos 1330 processor or the MediaTek Dimensity 6300. Either way, with either of those processors, expect to get very impressive budget performance, but in addition to that, hence the name of this phone, this device is compatible with 5G connectivity. So certainly in 2025, you are going to want to get a smartphone that does support 5G. That's definitely a nice feature to have because that's pretty much the present and future of the leading technology for the various mobile networks out there. So you definitely want a 5G smartphone. So thankfully, we're getting that here. And then with this phone, we are getting 6GB of RAM. Now, I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6. and I'll show you the results in that test right now. But I basically got a single core score of 976 and a multi-core score of 2167. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to see if the A16 5G is going to actually be a performance upgrade for you. Because who knows, what you're coming from right now might actually be a better phone than this one, but most likely probably not. Now, video recording unfortunately is limited at 1080p for both the rear and front cameras on the device. Definitely take a look at my full review video that's already been out here on the channel to see various photo and video samples, but in general, the cameras do a decent job. And then with this device, we're getting a very large 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery, along with 25 watt fast charging. Now keep in mind though, in the box, there is no USB wall adapter included. There is a USB-C cable included, but not a full wall adapter. So you will have to supply that on your own. And especially if you want to get that full 25 watts, you got to make sure the adapter you're using actually supports that. And then based on the model of the phone that you get and the region you're getting it in, it may or may not have NFC. So use that for tap and pay. And I definitely use NFC a lot on any phone that does support it. Now, the biggest issue though with this device that I've encountered is that it doesn't yet have Samsung's One UI 7. Now, compared to other devices from Samsung, it makes sense why this phone has not gotten that major update yet. In fact, there's many flagship phones from Samsung that still are also running on Android 14, but I'm really looking forward to that update. I've been getting very used to using One UI 7 on my Galaxy S25 Ultra, which is actually the phone that's recording this video, and it really is a game changer update. It makes One UI feel a lot more modern and just really brings a lot more out of these devices. So I'm certainly looking forward to that update deploying. Now, I'm not sure when it's going to be getting that update. If you do know, let me know in the comment section below. But One UI 7 will be very refreshing to have here on the A16 5G. But in conclusion, the Galaxy A16 5G has remained a very competitive budget phone even 6 months after it's been launched. So I'm really happy about this device. I'm looking forward to continuing to use it and continuing to give you updates about it here on this channel. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. This is Kevin here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.